Hey everyone, welcome to Jacqueline and Jack Russell. On today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make an easy, unique dog collar. These collars are made with 1-inch wide ribbon, which I picked up from my local Fabricland. Aren't they cute? And 1-inch wide propylene webbing. You'll want to measure the circumference of your dog's neck to determine the length of the ribbon and webbing needed. Then add 8 inches extra to ensure they will be adjustable. We're going to line the ribbon up on top of the webbing and sew it together. You'll also need a clasp, a D-ring, and a slider. At your sewing machine, position the ribbon on top of the polypropylene webbing and stitch all the way down the outer edge. Next, you're going to stitch all the way down the other edge, securely fastening the ribbon to the webbing. When you're done, you should have something that looks like this, with your ribbon securely fastened to the webbing on both edges. Now it's time to attach the hardware. I have already completed one collar, so let's do another. First, you're going to want to put on the slider. So just slide it on the end and then push it down out of the way for now. Then you're going to want to add the D-ring. Now it's time to add the clasp. We're going to take it apart and we're going to leave the male end for later. That goes on the other end. We want the female end right now. We're going to feed the collar through the clasp and leave about a 1.5 to 2 inch tail. It needs to be long enough to secure the clasp and the D-ring. You're satisfied with your positioning of the tail and the D-ring, you're going to take this to your machine and you're going to stitch along the side of the clasp and then again on the other side of the D-ring. First, we're going to stitch along the side of the clasp. We're going to move the D-ring out of the way for now because it's going to get in the way. And you're going to stitch as close to the clasp as possible. And you're going to reinforce it by stitching back and forth a good 4 or 5 times just to make sure it's really stuck on there. And if there's any pulling, it won't break. Once you've clipped your threads, you're going to move your D-ring back into position. And then you're going to stitch on the outer side of the D-ring, stitching down the little tail, securely fastening that D-ring. And again, you're going to want to reinforce it by stitching back and forth a good 4 or 5 times to really make sure it's on there securely. For the next part, I'm going to take a lighter and lightly singe across the end of the webbing to seal it. This will make the next few steps go much easier. Feed the end of the collar through the male slider. Really pull quite a bit out because you're going to need a fair amount to play with because we have to put this back through the slider. This part gets a little tricky, so you'll want to pay attention. Feed the end of the collar up through the far side of the slider. Pull it out and then feed it back through the inner side of the slider. The last step will be to secure the tail of the collar down to the bottom collar. But before you can do that, you may need to open up and give yourself some room so that you have some sewing room. You'll want to make sure that you're attaching the tail of the collar onto the bottom part of the collar, not the top. If you attach it to the top, it won't slide. Make sure to sew back and forth, reinforcing it several times, as this is important to keep it all together. Trim or singe off any thread bits, and you're done. You've just made yourself a very unique adjustable dog collar. Congratulations! I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have and you'd like to see more pet-friendly sewing tutorials, please be sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching.